Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and welcome to This Week in WoW for the week of November 4th. Before we get started, we must shout out the wonderful Patreon supporters. We have Mario Casillas, RetPallyRocks, Nick Rada, Peter Burnham, RetSpecOps, and Joe Glocks. Thank you guys so much for the support. You guys are the heroes. Let's go and talk about what's going on this week in World of Warcraft. There's not a ton going on, but we do have the beta next week, so that's going to be changing really soon. Let's just go through everything that we have to talk about. This week we do have the Darkmoon Fair, pets, prizes, mounts, same spiel I give every time, hoping in midnight we get a update to the Darkmoon Fair. We also have PvP battle bonus event. Again, not really my cup of tea, but there is a whole group of the fan base, of the player base, whatever, that does pet battles, so this is your week. We also have the Timewalking dungeon event. So this is kind of funny to me because if you haven't got enough of Legion, this is actually Legion Timewalking. So you can do some Legion on retail if you are sick of doing Legion on Legion Remix. And then we also have PvP Brawl Warsong Scramble going on for those who are inclined to PvP or just need to farm out your honor for Warsong Gulch, different depending which faction you are, but your honor for them. So those are the events going on this week. Now, when it comes to retail, there's not a ton of news out right now other than beta is going to be next week. There's been some housing testing on the PTR, but just not a lot going on in the actual game. There was an interview that I thought I would mention with Ian Hazacostas, the head game guy or whatever, and he went on a podcast, I believe, and I thought it was interesting. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but I thought it was interesting because he basically talked about what I talked about in my simple does not equal easy video. Not a ton of people watch that one, but I definitely stand by everything I said in that video. And I think Ian basically backed up what I was saying. He didn't use simple versus easy, but he used complex versus difficult instead. And that was kind of the same exact comparison that I was making. I was basically saying that, he was saying that complex and difficult are different. I was saying that like difficult means complex and hard means, something different basically. But it's just the same kind of framing using different wordage. And I totally agree with it. And I'm really happy to hear it because obviously I made a video about it and, I'm saying what I'm taking away from it. But to hear it coming from Ian means that they are thinking the exact same way as me. And if, that doesn't mean they'll pull it off. But if they're thinking the exact same way as me on it, then what you're going to get is simpler like classes to play, like less things to track, things that you don't need, not needing weak ores anymore, right? So less things to track to play your class optimally, but still the same type of gameplay. Less needing 0.5 seconds to move to the perfect spot and more maybe communicating or being able to react to someone else doing something wrong, right? Someone else goes to the wrong spot, you go to their spot and make up for them because you have time to do that, right? There's different ways to make the game interesting and still feel challenging, right? And I hope that they thread that needle, but they certainly have the correct mindset. So that was wonderful to hear that they at least have the correct mindset going into it. Again, there hasn't been too much alpha news as well. I'm trying to just think if there's anything interesting coming out on the alpha recently. I don't believe so. Alpha is pretty much dying down, of course, because we have beta next week. So there's not much on that front. No major news on retail. There is some PvP changes, I think, coming to priests. So I know that they have been oppressive in PvP. I've seen enough posts about it to be able to say that. And there are some changes coming to that. But not a whole lot of stuff happening at all on retail right now. And then on Legion Remix end, we're also next week we will, or today I should say, I believe it's today, we should be getting another raid opening up, another tier opening up. But a lot of people, not a lot's an overstatement, but a good amount of people are kind of done with Legion Remix for the most part, or at least have enough bronze to be done. So you see Legion Remix dying down a lot too. Retail keys have taken back over from Legion Remix. People were having a lot of fun with Legion Remix, but they've kind of gotten done with it. It's a couple week thing, it's a month thing, whatever. It's going to last longer than that for those who want to and need to. But for people who played really hardcore, it's kind of done. And so you see people moving back to retail, maybe going back to classic, whatever. But that's where we are on that. You know, speaking of Classic, we don't talk a lot about Classic on the channel, but a lot of Classic Plus discussion going on as well among that Classic community. I'm very interested to see where Classic Plus is, because if Classic Plus is actually good, I could see myself playing Retail and Classic Plus and kind of doing content for both. If it's really good and I'm into it. Obviously, I only do content for things I enjoy, and you know, sometimes to my own detriment, but that's what I do. So if I do enjoy whatever version of Classic Plus that they make, you know, maybe I'll be playing 2 versions of World of Warcraft. We will see when that time comes. Other than that, for myself, like I said, I've kind of finished off my Legion remix. I did the plus 49 key solo achievement, so I kind of finished it off solo the way I wanted to do it. It was a lot of fun, got a lot of fulfillment in it. I've been thinking to myself how many moments of fulfillment I've been having with World of Warcraft lately. Like doing delves with my son, I did a video about that. That was really good. This Legion remix, the soloing things, I feel so accomplished when I do one of those solo achievements. And then the horrific visions I had a lot of fun doing and making videos on. And just, I could think of probably like 2 or 3 more that were really big things, like in the past, you know, 6 months or whatever, right? That were just super fun and that I enjoyed a heck of a lot. And now we have Brawlers Guild next week, or not next week, next month. And that has potential, at least. It could miss, it could be too easy, too lame, whatever. But Brawlers Guild has potential to be extremely fun as well and have like one of those exciting moments completing that. So just a lot of good moments lately in World of Warcraft. You know, there's you know, Bellular, he's a prominent YouTuber for World of Warcraft. He did a video saying that WoW, you know, I mean, Blizzard basically saying, but him reporting it, I guess, that WoW probably is as big as it has been since Wrath of the Lich King. Not the height of Wrath of the Lich King, but like towards the end of Wrath of the Lich King. And that's saying a lot. Now that's of course across all versions of the game, right? And worldwide, but it was worldwide back then too. But that's all versions of the game, but still, it's still very impressive. And it feels like it too. It feels like a lot of people are enjoying different things in the game. I know I am. And everyone's kind of has their little thing that they're enjoying. And I think that's great. I think for a while, the only people who were enjoying the game were sometimes Mythic Raiders and sometimes Mythic Plusers, like especially like during Shadowlands, right? And now it's like more and more people I feel like are enjoying the game, and that's a great thing. Delves, of course, being a big reason for that, but then just also PvP people are kind of optimistic with the removal of add-ons and stuff like that going into the next expansion, you know, just because they don't want to track everything that they have to track in PvP. So yeah, everything's looking bright is all I'll say as we head into beta next week. Obviously, we'll probably be talking a lot about that in the video next week, but yeah, that's about it for this one though. I don't know what I'm going to be doing this week because there's not a ton to do in the game, but if I find some interesting news or whatever, of course I'll report on that, or if I do anything interesting, I'll make a video about it. So that'll be it for this one, guys. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. If you are already subscribed, I encourage you to check out the Patreon. Other than that, everybody, have a good one.